Thanks for joining, guys. It's a weekly Forex review. I'm going to dive into the pairs that I basically predicted kind of end of January, seeing where they're at. We're going to do a quick recap, and I'll calculate where the risk to reward ratio is in total for all these, because I got to say, this month has been very good to me. And I want to say to us, hopefully, there's other people that are taking advantage of these ideas. But yeah, let's just dive right in. So, AUD CAD, as we can see with the entry that was kind of kicking around there, um, if a buy, sorry, if a sell limit was taken, not really that great, right? Like that's why I kind of like to wait for it to pop over and take a sell stop kind of around the area. So, if let's say the original entry was taken here, it dropped down, break even, kind of hit right here and hovered. For me, if it wouldn't have broken any previous highs, I would have taken a chance again with the sell stop, which I did. So currently, it's sitting at 313 pips in profit against 62 pip or 60 pip risk to reward ratio. Okay, so we are at 5 to 1 on this. All right. And I'll explain later on. I've been just playing scholar strategy while those other trades are happening, just to kind of stay active in the market. I don't really need to screw around too much when you have multiple winners. AUD USD, similar idea. It was very close to triggering the stop, but again, I only had it at 50 pips. All right, so this one, because it was only 50 pips, and it's at 383, that's approximately 7.6 to 1. All right, so there's that. Moving on, CAD JPY. It had a little bit, it finally kind of went into the trade February 13th and it's been hovering around here. It tapped break even and started to climb. So, I mean, one of two things could have happened, right? If trades was set to break even, unfortunately, that was kind of a missed opportunity. And if it wasn't, then, you're up 120 pips. So that's only about 1.6 to 1. Not huge, but still, it's the beginning of the trade. There's definitely going to be ample amounts of opportunity to jump in there. Have to go into a smaller time frame to see what is really happening. And currently, as you can see, it's been building some volume. It looks like this candle right here is going to be the breakout because of these previous pins. And it is hovering based off this volume here. Right, so if I just go where it consolidated the last time from here to here, you'll see the volume buildup is right there. Judging where we're at right now, you can see clearly it's been testing it, finally broke through, tested it on the reverse and climbed. Right, so it's looking like a pretty good trade option. The only thing is, if you would want to enter, I would say it's going to look like it's going to do something like that and go back up. Right, so that volume line is going to be a good area to test the pullbacks before it climbs higher. Okay, EuroCAD, it's been kind of long in the making, but again, if TP wasn't taken the first time here or break even was hit and you missed that opportunity, this last chance again, it would have been right here on that trade. Right, so on a 60 pip stop loss, it is currently 225. So that's almost just a little over 4 to 1. So I'll just put 4. All right. So good looking EuroCAD. Still got lots of potential to drop. And yeah, I mean, we kind of made a double bottom there actually. So there is the potential that it will climb. If we take a look at the very long-term chart, it didn't even retrace to the down to the 328, right? This should be a little bit higher. All right, so it didn't even retrace down to the 328. It kind of rejected off of that 610 EMA. But it's looking pretty good so far. I have a feeling it's going to continue to drop. Even on the daily, EMA hasn't shifted since way up here. Okay, so let's see Euro USD. It's not quite, yeah. So you see, that's where my original trade idea was. Unfortunately, it kind of triggered much lower. So maybe it was some other candle pattern I should have looked for, but that looked pretty good. Actually, it's just, yeah, I guess it played around on the 610 instead back at the beginning of February. It's unfortunate, right? Like I was expecting it to come up here, but I was short by about 100 pips. So it is what it is, right? If the entry was taken there when the shift happened, let's say, currently you're looking at 250, right? But similar idea to this, the way that it's sitting, it's breaking through and going back down to that volume line. And very likely what the play is going to be, it's either going to shoot right through it or it's going to hover around here a little bit, go up, and then break through, right? Either way, I still believe it's going to go down. And long-term fib, as you can see right now, we didn't even make it to the 618, but we were at the 50% for very long term. Okay, but for kind of the midterm, I would say target would be at around here, 1.01137. Just that 618 retracement, as you can see, around that area too. That's where we have some liquidity zones. We got build up here, finally broke through it. It didn't really retest it, so I have a feeling this is going to be the retest before it continues upwards. But yeah, for the next few weeks, I do see it dropping down another 400 pips or so. But again, missed my entry, so unfortunately I haven't got in there. But Euro USD is being played on the Scholar strat, which I'll dive into after I go through these. GBP CAD, kind of messy, not really interested in this trade. I'll close that off. GBP JPY, it hit off this this zone several times. But yeah, I'm not really looking to get into this anyway. It's very choppy. GBP USD, little bit better. Right, you can see it hovered around entry for almost 2 weeks, right? So that was a little sucky. However, nothing wrong with that. The only trouble is that you've been in profit enough to move to break even, and it would have hit break even several times, right? The last opportunity would have been around here, and that would have been like about 4 pips before it was hit break even, but it's currently sitting at 466 in profit. So this is a very nice looking trade. Okay. So that's almost an 8 to 1, I would say 7.8. It's currently at 7.8 to 1 on this trade. Good potential to drop even more, almost making it a 16, 17 to 1. Anyway, NZD CAD, like I was saying before, the opportunity to jump back in on the trade was around here. But if anybody got in at the beginning of December, I mean, it is, what, over a 2-month trade at this point. Like, it's a little long to be in that, but just in case, if you are at the 60 pip range, this would be approximately a 6.4 to 1 for a winner. So we'll add that up. And the final, I think that was it actually. I don't think I had any USD JPY trades. No, that was just a little short-term one. So my target for that is still way up here. USD CHF. So, I mean, there is a way. It's just looking for an entry around this. It's pretty high, right? Like JPY moves a lot more for 60 pips. So it tends to be a little bit riskier. So you can see just this move on the final day was about 200 pips, right? But even one candle, it can go up and down. It can go down 100 pips, back up. Starting at, sorry, let's do this. Just one 4-hour candle. It could drop 178 pips and then pull back up to minus 65. So I mean, that's almost a 300 pip move within 4 hours, right? Even these guys, they're pretty large, right? So it's a little bit more difficult to take proper trades off USD JPY. I mean, scalping it would probably be a good solution. Otherwise, you'd want to play scholar strategy, but with a higher stop loss and win ratio. The sleepers, actually, I want to dive into these because I marked them up a while ago, but I just haven't really done anything with them. So I believe I said that there was two zones, right? This was the peak and this was going to be the bottom. So what I said is it's either going to be playing around like this and go down, right? Or it's just going to go up and retest and go further. So it played around and dropped. I mean, that was a very nice move to see. Like right here was the resistance and it just could not break through. So, I mean, I didn't jump into this trade, but if I potentially would have, I mean, I'd be currently sitting at, man, I don't want to say it, 36,000 pips in profit. Like, I think that's a little intense, right? Judging where it's dollar value, but yeah, that would be about 3,658 pips in profit. And gold I drew up as well. I mean, it looks like it would have hit the stop loss there, but watch, I'll drop the time frames. You see, that would have been the sell stop. And this, I mean, beginning of February as well. It's just been crazy, right? Like, was it 1,217 pips in profit? So, I mean, stop loss, again, would have been around 750 and profits almost at 3,000. So this is almost an 8-to-1 ratio, if that would be the case. But currently, like, it's at 5.8. Like, that's very good. But overall, with the previous 6 trades that we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 32.4 to 1 in profit at this point in 1 month. If you'd close off all those trades, you know, let's say you risked $1 a pip, right? $1 a pip. And right now you're up, and again, your ratio is 60 pips is your stop loss, and whatever your reward is based off of that, right? So let's just go 32 times 60, right? Per dollar. That would be a $2,000 month, just playing $1 a pip. So that's not too bad. What happens if you play $10 a pip? Right? I mean, it's a little, for those that don't have large accounts, I mean, playing $600 a stop loss is a little bit risky at that time. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that, you know, playing the right ratios, you can really do well. Right? So what would be $1 a pip with a 60 pip stop loss, right? So if you want to play 2% and it's $1 a pip, we're looking at, I think that'd be a $3,000 account, right? 1% to 3,000 is 30. Yeah, so that's a $3,000 account if you'd want to play $1 a pip. So, you know, gauge it as you see fit. It's kind of important that you know what your risk tolerance is. But yeah, you kind of see the idea, right? Like these setups just kept going. There was nothing really to add. Like I had no interest in really jumping in on any pairs. I mean, the 6 that I had going was really all that I needed. So just the scholar strategy, okay? So I know I dived into this quite a bit before, and I just kind of showed how everything worked, right? So when it has a heavy cross through the white right there, I was playing sells. And then when it was in this chop, I didn't really trade a whole lot. You know, that made me nervous until I saw the white kind of cross that gold there. And then it's showing me that overall, this really does want to be bearish. Okay, so watch this, right? Let's say, for example, the sells started around here, right? Look, unfortunately, this is the only trade that would have won. But watch how it would have won. Let me do the short position. Okay, so starting right here, February 3rd. Let me just this will be easier to do. 450 and 150. All right. Okay, so that, look, target hit within an hour and a half, right? But this could have kept going all the way down there. Like it could have been a 10-to-1 trade and 2 days long, right? So that's the nice thing about that. All right. So anyway, that would have been a win. That would have been a no-go. That's a no-go. This, a win, right? But let's say, started playing the middle of February, right? Because at the beginning I was kind of watching the other trades. So middle of February, first pivot line. I mean, we want to say we took that or not, but let's say it did trigger in profit. This one did not trigger, so far that's a 1. There's a loss. That one didn't trigger. That definitely would have been a loss if it triggered, but it did not. That one is a win. Is it a win? Almost a win. No, it's a win. Down here, it would have counted a little bit later on. But anyway, so there's 1 win, 1 loss, 2 wins, 3 wins, 3 wins, 2 losses. That was a no-go. 4 wins, 2 losses, 4 wins, 3 losses, 4 losses, 4 and 4, 4 and 4. That probably would have been a break even. Maybe. Nope. Nope. That would have been profit because that wasn't enough for 15 pips. No, it would have been break even right here, unfortunately. Same with the second one. That trade would have been taken, but that would have been into break even. So that's kind of a bummer, right? That would have been a loss if the trade was taken right away. But if it was a sell stop, it would be a win. But let's say anyway, 5 wins, 5 wins, 5 losses. That's where we're at. Here, that would have been unfortunately a break even. There's a win. So 6 wins, 5 losses. 7 wins, 5 losses. This would have been a break even. This right here would have been a loss if the trade was taken, unfortunately, as a sell stop, right? Because you can see, well, no, it could have climbed first before it dropped, right? So let's see how that actually worked out. Let's do the replay right here, and we'll switch that down to the 5-minute time frame, right? Just to see how it all played out. So let's see. So once it crossed that area, play it. Where's the thing? Down here. Okay, so as you see, if the trade was taken before 5:30, right, which I mean, within the first hour and a half, it is possible, right? So that would have broken you into a stop, into a loss, right? But as you see, it was just that one move up there. If the entry was taken the second time around at 6:30, it was pretty choppy, and finally goes into profit. Right, just got to make sure that's not 15 pips because that would have been a break even. So let's just see. Oh, that was a break even, right? So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Oh, and another break even. However, it's a potential for entering once again, but I wouldn't do it if you're broken out already, right? Especially, I mean, 1 in the morning, I'm not going to be up for that. So, it's unfortunate. Sometimes that happens, but these moves really do play around quite a bit. Like you can see this one right here. It's going sideways, right? It's a bit of a flag forming on the 5-minute. But yeah, you could see right here would have been fantastic had it not been for a bit of a chop that we saw earlier on there, right? And taking the trade later on the day, it wouldn't have mattered because as soon as that profit was hit, it would have been a break even. However, at midnight, I'm not going to be watching it for another 3 hours, so very likely I would have just kept that 15 pip stop loss and risked it for the night. I don't like being in those situations, but it is possible that that's what would have happened, right? Again, it broke me out, right? I didn't enter again. My typical rule is once I get broken out once, I'm not going to keep trying to force that trade because that's how you're going to end up losing more. I would just play the next pivot. So overall, 7 wins, 6 losses, right? Even though the trend has started, right? You could see it wasn't really spread out nicely ever since middle of February. It was kind of choppy until it finally started spreading near the end of last week, right? So even still starting off 7 wins, 7 losses, each win is a 3-to-1 risk to reward. So I mean that's you're up 21 and you're down 7, so you're still up 14 to 1 in 2 weeks. I mean, can't really beat that. And that's one currency pair, guys. Imagine following two, right? Like this should not have been traded. It's kind of clear. Everything's consolidated. CAD JPY, opportunity for some buys, but again, this was pretty choppy. CAD CHF, and again, we can go through all the currency pairs like this, but I just kind of see, look, AUD CAD, that would have been pretty good near the end of the week, right? Looked like it lined up pretty well. Let's see with pivots, right? So that would have been a loss, but this would have definitely been a break even actually, because it went down and up through it. That wouldn't have been a non-entry. That's a loss. That would have been hopefully a win. I don't know if that's 45 pips or not. Oh, that's a break even. This guy would have been a win though. Right? It didn't go up 15 pips because that would be right there. And it just kept going. So that would be pretty nice actually. That would almost be a 6, almost a 6 to 1. I mean, if we get to 90, and that's a non-entry. But you see, I mean, during consolidation, this is the time you don't want to go. Only when everything's spreading very nicely, that's the perfect time to start entering positions. Okay? And again, I have the Scholar Strat up. I'll put it in the links. So hope you guys practice that. And remember, it only takes 5 minutes a day. You saw how quickly I just went through 5 pairs to see what's going in which direction. Okay, but I wouldn't say jump into 9 or 10 pairs. Pick 1 or 2 that you really like and that are consistent. Again, back testing. All right, I'm going to do a video as to how to properly back test for any strategy, really, because there's certain situations where some indicators may look super flashy. I'll give you an example. Right, there's one called the QQE signals. You guys might have seen this on Facebook ads or whatever, and I'll show you what this looks like. Okay, you just have a bunch of short and longs all over the place. All right, looks awesome. I mean, wow, it tells me to go short right here. That would have been great if I caught all that. Tells me to go long right here. I'm like, okay, yes. As fantastic as that is, when it says 95% success rate, not so much. Right, because remember, this wick, this sign pops up at the end of the candle. Okay, so now imagine this: you took the trade here, and then it goes up 80 pips. Are you going to keep an 80 pip stop loss for a potential 120 pip profit? Right, because then it just goes sideways. And look, and your entry, the long candle was right here, so you'd be out 14 pips before the other tag came out. Right, especially if you didn't take profits. Or look, 60 pips again, pulls back. Right, look, taking this short, sure, there's going to be a couple trades that you're able to do. Taking this long would have been great. You know, only 16 pips down, it goes up almost 200. Not bad. Right, this short, for example, can go all the way down. You can really make a killing off that one trade. But just remember, guys, this is on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. And I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad indicator, but I'm not going to dive into this right now. I'll make a video explaining the pros and cons of stuff like this. All right, so throw up in the chat if you guys want to see any tutorials on indicators or you want me to test them, and I'll be happy to do so. Until then, take care, and I'll see you next week.